Okay, I'm making this video for everybody that keeps asking me what type of stuff I take on my Grand Canyon hikes. Uh, I'm going to go through all the gear. I'm not going to go through my food, but I just want to give everybody an idea on the types of things that I take. First thing, and probably one of the things my parents and my wife make me take, is my personal locator beacon. I'll start with my pack. Other than that, it's a VOD. It's a heavy pack. It weighs about 5 pounds. I've pared some straps off of it, and I take the top off of it, so I don't take the fold over top, and it ends up being about a 4.5 pound bag. When I go to the Grand Canyon, one of the things I try to do is go on day hikes at my in location or wherever I end up going as the main point in my trip. So I also take a REI Flash 18 pack, and I actually strap this on the top and use this as my top lid on my pack. It's a heavy way to go. It's 11 ounces, but when I'm going on 10 and 20 mile day hikes, it's good to have a good pack. Next thing is your bear bag, or your critter bag for your food. It keeps the mice out of your food, at least. The ravens like to poke at it, but I try to get one of these about every time I go. My tent is 2.5 pounds. It's a Big Agnes Seed House SL1. It's not a very large tent, but it'll keep me dry, and I've got a ground cloth with it, which is another 5 ounces. I always put my water filter in a separate bag, and this year I'm taking a couple of extra bags actually. I'm taking a Sawyer little pump that you just fill the bag with dirty water, screw this on it, you put that wherever you want the water to go, and you push the water through the filter. They make a smaller one, a mini. I have not bought that one. I'm anxious to see how it works. Always before I took a pump. But this actually is a syringe then to clean it out. The pump I used to take, I had trouble with it clogging with really silty water. So I'm hoping this will help cure some of that issue. I'm also taking some coffee filters. This is a spare bag to push the water through the pump, but I've got some coffee filters in case I get into really dirty water and have to filter some of the dirt out before I settle it out even. I also have what's called a SteriPen, which is a UV light sterilizer. So you hit the button, blue, and you stir your water around, and you let it set for about a minute, stirring it, and you can do a half liter or liter with it. It takes about a minute. It seems to work fairly well if there's not a lot of sediment in the water. If you have a lot of sediment, I don't use it. It's kind of like my backup filter that I take. I take a bag for my feet, and it's got moleskin and tape and all sorts of other stuff in it, a blister kit. And in here I've got a little flashlight, a backup flashlight. It's just a little keychain with a thing on the end of it, but I always carry that with me. That is my ground sheet for my tent. I always take a couple dozen Germ-X sanitizing wipes before I eat, before I go to bed, things like that. Clean myself up a little bit. First aid kit. For water containers, I always take at least 4 quarts of capacity. I have 2 1-liter platypus bottles that basically fold up nice and small. If they're empty, they can hold a liter. I'll always take a couple of 20-ounce empty Gatorade bottles. These are great for the little tubes of Gatorade powder you can buy, or this what's called Nun. And I always take a tube of this, and these are little pellets you put in your water, kind of flavor it. It's supposed to rehydrate you some. Those 20 ounces. This is my first day lunch, just to get an idea. I always take a packet of, so this would be like my day one food. I'll take some goo, a packet of salmon or tuna. I'll have some munchy stuff, piece of beef jerky, a bar, things like that. Some days I take peanut butter and jelly. Some days just mix that up pretty much. Normally take a old K-State plastic poncho that I have. I bought that at a K-State football game. This is a Ghost Whisperer jacket. It's a Mountain Hardwear, 7.5 ounces. It's a down jacket that's very warm. And last year I didn't take it, or 2 years ago I didn't take one when I went in April, and it got cold and it snowed on me, so this year it's in my list. My homemade camp shoes, I made those out of a pad I got at Walmart. They weigh about 1.5 ounces. I use Gorilla Tape across the top here. That's probably where most of the weight is. But if I have to get in the stream or something so I don't get my feet cut, a lot of times you end up crossing streams. I wouldn't take this type of a shoe if I had to be crossing the stream a lot or walking down the center of a stream. I'd take some sort of a water shoe, but this time I can take this and actually use it as a little sit pad. Sometimes I take a sit pad that is similar to this. Used to take something like that. This year I'm probably not going to, but it's just a piece of a Walmart cheap $7 pad that you can cut up and make stuff out of. This is a pillow. You blow it up and it folds down fairly small. This is my camp stove and fuel. Each one of those cubes of fuel will burn for about 10 minutes. Typically I'll boil a couple of cups of water. Take a couple of small lighters to light the cubes. My windscreen is tinfoil, and the stove where those cubes sit weighs about 1.5 ounces, and it's like that with your cup on top with the cube right there. So that's my whole cook set. It's not as fast as some of the other stoves that are out there, but it's definitely one of the lightest. I always take a little hand towel. This time I'm doing a lot of camping on the Colorado River, and that'll be my only water source. So I'm taking a 10-liter folding bucket. This is Sea to Summit makes this. This you can put really salty water in it. Let it sit, and a lot of times I can mix some alum with it. I carry alum, and it'll silt the dirt out of the water, and then I can filter it that way. It keeps my filter cleaner. I always take a little piece of rope. Always have some toilet paper tubes, 2 or 3 of them. With a lot of times I'll wrap string around it. I've got one with tape around it, like that. As I said, I do take some alum. I take this plastic thing to, I strip all the extra plastic and stuff off my dehydrated meals and put them in really small Ziploc bags. And so to reconstitute them, I'll actually put all the stuff in here and then pour a cup of water in here, and it makes a nice cover. I don't know. You can really shrink the size of your food down doing that. I'm not quite sure it saves you a lot of weight, but I seem to be doing it every year. So anyway, that's the way it is. I always take an extra pair of socks in along with the rest of my clothes. Have those that close by me. Thermal rest. It's not a thermal rest. It's an Aircore SL by Big Agnes. It weighs about 1 pound. It's a full-size air mattress. For me, it's only a single person, but it's pretty comfortable. I always put my sleeping bag in. Last time I went, I got cold, so this year I'm taking a liner inside my sleeping bag. It weighs 5 or 6 ounces. Cedar Summit makes it also. It adds some warmth. And then my sleeping bag is a VOD also. It's a Featherlight 200. It's a 40-45 degree bag. It's a down bag. I got it really cheap, so I actually have 2 of them, and it seems to do the job. Sometimes you can find some light stuff that's cheaper, and I can take that out and lay on a rock, and I really don't care if it gets dirty or anything, versus something high dollar. A lot of times this will be my 5th quart or other quart of water. I mentioned earlier I took a couple things like this and a couple 20-ounce things. I'll take something like this also. I'll drink this my first day, and then I'll just use it, put water back in it afterwards. Plastic bag, Ziploc, full-size trash bag. If I get caught in the rain, a lot of times I'll just throw everything in the plastic, especially in the middle of the night. Take everything in the tent, throw it in the trash bag. Keeps it dry, especially my sleeping bag since it's down. I have bought a light synthetic one, but haven't used it yet. Not going to take it on this trip. I always take extra stuff, and string, safety pins, bread ties. If I end up taking my bladder instead of a couple of the bottles for water, I can put a bladder in my backpack. I have an extra mouthpiece for it. I always take an extra set of batteries for my water filter, the SteriPen. I've got an extra battery for my camera, a couple memory cards, another little extra flashlight it looks like, and then a orange tie that's one of these types of ties that you can bend and tie stuff, hang my pack, things like that with. Haven't decided whether I'm going to take this yet or not. It's a Canary cycling jacket. It's basically a wind water type jacket. It'll keep you dry up till a heavy rain. It keeps the moisture off of you. 7.5, 8 ounces. It's I don't know. I haven't decided on that one yet since I'm taking my down coat. I also take some expedition weight, an expedition weight pullover, and a silk long sleeve top. I'll take shorts. You know, my shorts that I take will typically be, I'm trying something new this year. There'll be liner shorts, keeps you from having to take a lot of underwear. I'm actually taking a couple pair of underwear, but I'm taking a pair of liner shorts. All the runners wear them. Another way to lighten the bag. A lot of the shirts I'm getting are, I'll take a couple of shirts and they'll be, 4 or 5 ounces a piece. Fast drying kind. This is a Solomon. Hiking socks. I'll put the sleeping bag in anything else, that my clothes, the liner for the sleeping bag, that I'll put them all in this. This is a compression sack, and I'll scrunch it down as small as I can. Heaviest thing I carry is food. This is about 8.5 pounds of food. The hardest thing about packing in the canyon is I can be light, and my pack is under 20 pounds with the pack and tent and all this other stuff. I'm under 20 pounds. But when you think 4 quarts of water is going to be a little over 8 pounds, 8.5, 9 pounds of food, you end up in that 37, 38 pound range. I also take a bag with personal stuff in it. There's actually another flashlight in there, contact stuff, camp soap. I always put all this stuff in what's called a lock sack. These are special baggies you can buy that won't let the smells come through things. I always take some powder. I got my pills, an extra set of contacts. This is my toothpaste, and I always take aspirin and Pepto-Bismol and Tylenol, those types of things in there. Again, some more wipes. And that's about everything I think I'm taking on this trip. In the past, I've taken some other stuff, but I think that's my gear list this time. So my trip is actually 6 days, 5 nights, and should be a fun trip. I'm going on down the Tanner and over to the Little Colorado, and then all the way across to the Grandview and up to Grandview. So I'll see everybody when I get back.